Hello, everyone. I'm Annie Gibbins, and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success, and what they have learnt along the way. Well, welcome to the program, everybody. This is Annie from Memoirs of Successful Women, and I'm super excited to be able to introduce to you today Shagufta Alam, who is a registered psychologist and behavioural support practitioner at PsychCentral. So we're going to be talking about all things mental health and why she became a psychologist and what it's like to be an emerging clinician in this kind of field that she's very passionate about. So welcome to the program, Shagufta.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. I'm so excited about our talk today, and I'd love to talk to you first up about what it's like to be a psychologist. Why did you become a psychologist?
Um, I wanted to become a psychologist because that's my nature. I like talking. But when I became a psychologist, I realized that it's not about talking, it's about listening. Being a psychologist is a very rewarding profession, I would say, especially coming from a diverse cultural background, being a female, and basically I was born in Australia, but I was brought up in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
I came to live in Australia about 11 years ago. So I had so many different experiences that I think I can use all that sort of skills and experiences in my job. There is no other, and the other thing is that, I always wanted to help people, but I didn't know how I can help people. I couldn't be a doctor, Usually we think doctors can help people, but I'm one of those people who are very good. Though I like talking, but I like listening. I'm a very empathetic person. So people usually share their issues with me anyways. So I thought, okay, let's give it a go. Let's study it um, properly, get registered so that, yeah, I'm recognized, so that I know what I'm doing. You just don't, you know how, because I'm the eldest in my family. So usually my siblings would come for advice to me, but I wanted to give them advice after knowing what I'm doing.
Yes, it's a different skill set, isn't it? It's one of those, I know I naturally love helping people and giving back and being the person that someone comes to for advice. And then also being able to actually say, well, because I've done the training, because I do have a rationale, some research behind why I'm saying what I'm saying, that takes it
Exactly.
obviously to a whole new level. And there's a lot of people out there who just, teach things. And I'm sure from your perspective, it's like, yeah, a lot of it might not be evidence based or in the right sort of, system framework that you've studied so well.
And also, Annie, you know how like it's a reflex to give advice. But what I have realized that instead of giving advice, it's better to empower people and they come up with solution to their own problems. Because if I own a problem, I need to own the solution. So if this is my theory. So before I used to think, oh, someone is sharing their problem with me because they expect me to give them advice.
Mm.
But now I have realized that no, you just listen to them, validate, and empower them to make the best choices for them. Because if I tell you, okay, send your son to XYZ school, you're not gonna do it because you have got your own research. You know what you're doing. But if I tell you one thing, your mind is saying another thing, then it's very confusing. So this is what I realized after studying. Before someone would come to me, I would give them at least 10 options. But now I would not tell them what to do. Honestly, any I would not, even if I'm tempted to, I would just stop myself from giving them advice because that's not what we do. We need to empower them. We need to bring the original person in them out so that they are able to make their own decisions.
Yeah, I love what you've said there, because that's so true, isn't it? And that's what I've noticed from, seeing a psychologist myself, or speaking to others. That's right. It's all on the listening, and it's about giving people the permission, if you like, to step back and reflect and to find those solutions within themselves. And then you're going to get long-lasting solutions that are authentic to who they are, because what will work with one person may not work with another. And or it can be short-lived. You can do it because you're told to do it, but you're not gonna
No.
stay with that long term, are you?
And what I have noticed, at times there is no problem. They want is to someone there to listen them, validate, and what they are doing is right. At
Mm,
times there is not big issues, like mm, there are hardly ever big issues that you can solve.
mm,
Usually, like what people know their lives, what they're doing, like they have been doing something that's working for them. So at times I feel that it's only validation. Okay, yeah, you're doing this, what do you think? Yeah, it looks all right to me. Yep. So that sort of stuff, I suppose.
what areas of psychology do you most enjoy working in? Do you have any specific areas?
Yeah, I enjoy working with, not that enjoy, like um, I mostly work with complex trauma
Hmm.
and complex mental health like schizophrenia, autism, because my I have always been working in disability sector.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the thing is that it's a very broad field. So if someone comes with us with a diagnosis of, say, schizophrenia, of course they have got depression, anxiety underlining.
Yes.
So usually the issues are the same.
Mm,
It's only we need to approach them a little bit differently. Someone who comes to me with complex trauma, they would need a lot of, reassurance, empowerment. Whereas someone, if they come with schizophrenia, their approach would be a little bit different.
mm,
So yeah, but I enjoy working with see, I think the base of my work is rapport building. So, and because I can talk and listen, I'm good at rapport building. So I could possibly work around a wide range of presentations.
mm,
But
mm,
there are some presentations that I have never worked with, which would be a challenge.
mm.
For example, I
Sure.
have never worked with eating disorders client.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and this is like if I get a client, I would have to get supervision. I wouldn't be able to handle them on my own. I would be able to build rapport, but they have got a very specific presentation, so I won't be able to handle them on my own.
I love the humility in that. And I often find that with people who are highly trained, they'll suddenly go one extra area. It's like, oh no, I'd want to be supervised. I'd want to make sure that I'm
Yeah.
doing the right thing. Whereas other people with way less qualifications go, oh yeah, I'd have a go at that. I'd have a go at that. So it's not about the confidence, right? It's about that authority and responsibility for that client, that you are,
Oh,
giving them your very best, but not just because of passion or desire to help, to actually therapeutically support them in the right way, So, yeah, I love that. What drew
and
you
yeah,
to, oh, sorry, what drew you to complex trauma?
so when I first started working in disability, I was surprised that every person that comes to me has been through trauma.
Mm,
May it be like abuse, may it be like, emotional abuse, relocation. Like trauma is a very broad term. So when I first started working in disability, I was really surprised at how come everyone has experienced that much trauma. And when I started studying it and really like researched it, I realized that trauma is usually not one single thing. For
mm,
example, it might be just rough childhood. Rough childhood means like a lot and lot would have happened to the child.
yeah.
And the thing is that if the trauma is not dealt with at like early on, it really gets complex because like what happens if you are traumatized, you never develop to your best.
Mm,
You're traumatized with every little thing.
mm,
So To me, the base of every behavior or most of illnesses is trauma.
Mm,
Even, like coming to a new country, I went through trauma myself. Coming to a new country, relocation is a trauma. Like some of us are lucky they didn't have to go through that trauma, but it's a big shock. It's a cultural shock. It's an emotional shock. It's a financial shock. Like it's not one thing. So I used to think like, like I have got kids, family, finances, everything. When I am so devastated, only after like mm, relatively relocation is a smaller trauma. So
mm.
how would these people who lose their parents or get abused or get diagnosed with chronic illness in younger age, just imagine what level of trauma they go through. And then
Yeah.
what happens, the worst thing is that they usually don't report, because if a girl gets abused, she thinks, oh, who am I going to tell? If she goes to mom or auntie or someone, they say, oh, no, 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 that's okay, just
Mm.
like this happens.
Oh,
This,
this happened to me. This is my story, and those who've read my biography will do that. I was sexually assaulted at a young age, and that's it. Told the people who were supposed to look after me, and they all decided I was telling stories or lying. And so it wasn't until, in my 30s when I had young children, that I actually felt so uncomfortable that it made me make very powerful decisions about not being near that person for the safety of my children more than myself. Uh,
exactly, yeah.
and then I in my writing my biography, actually wrote down my story. And so, and I'm now 53, but it took that long for me to go, I'm just going to own my truth. It doesn't matter if it makes other people, interesting. I actually got told, you can't, how dare you give away those secrets? And I said, well, that's it. I've been holding the secret, but it's actually your secret. It's not my secret. And there's incredible freedom there. But I know through my journey and that those who I have shared with, it's incredibly common that you feel very alone, and
That's it. But the thing is that when you share it, the weight gets relieved off your shoulders.
oh,
You,
incredible.
you can imagine the relief. And like I come across so many young boys and girls, even elderly men, like ladies in their 50s, and they say, you know what, I need to tell you that this happened to me and I never told. And you think like this work, these people, like their life is gone. Like, it's not easy,
Mm.
especially if it's not, dealt with, if they don't get any therapy, if they don't get any reassurance, it's not easy to deal with.
Oh.
So I forgot what we were talking about. I just
We were
got,
talking about why you went into complex trauma and how
yeah.
relocation, you've mentioned relocation, and that's exactly it, because you said you were born in Australia and then you were raised in Pakistan, and then suddenly coming back to Australia. What age did you leave Australia? Did you remember it from your childhood, or did it seem
Oh,
like a new country for you?
so when my mom and dad tell me that I was 3 years old when we left Australia,
Mm,
and when I came back, I was like in my late 30s.
mm.
So like major time of my life was
Yeah.
spent in Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly. So Pakistan was home, and then you come to a whole new country at an age where you're supposed to then
Exactly.
suddenly know what you're doing and have your profession and have all your connections and know a lot more about yourself. And it's incredibly traumatic. It really
Yeah.
is, for so many reasons, and particularly for those who don't even speak the language.
Yeah.
I know when my mum came out from France with no English at age 12, and when she used to share, I'm like, that would be just so hard. First year in high school and not speak the language. It's so traumatic, really. Yeah.
But I was very lucky. Like my dad, he had something, like he's a very far-sighted man. Although we were living in Pakistan, but we were living in Pakistan in Australian way.
Mm,
We were a little bit odd there. Like he used to encourage us to speak English at home, and others would think like, why would you speak English at home? But the good thing about Pakistan is that although it's a third world country, the education system is really good.
mm,
So I studied all my studies in English language.
okay.
And we were encouraged to speak English at home. So when I came to Australia, my English was like not too bad. I could survive.
Mm,
And then I picked up. And I worked hard on the accent. When I first came, accent was a thing. But now, like, we worked hard, we picked up. But even today, like at times, especially if you're on the phone, and especially when you're telling someone your email address, it's so hard because A and E and I. So I have to A as in apple, I inkpot. Especially like my surname is Alam, so I have to say, oh, is it Alan or Alam? No, no,
Yeah.
no. A for apple, L for lion, A for apple, M for Mary. This is my sort of, like, this is my recording that I have to tell everyone. But that's it. That's
You're
it.
way more articulate than us Australian-born Aussies who roll lots of words together and often finish with an A.
Yeah, but like especially when you're giving someone your email address, you don't want them to make a mistake. No, no,
That's
no.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting from your perspective as a psychologist then, when people are going through, complex trauma and many other mental health issues. And this podcast is all about memoirs of successful women. What does success look like? What does it feel like? How do people celebrate their successful moments? And how do you approach that as a psychologist with those people who, sometimes when you're at rock bottom, it's very hard to look up and even imagine being successful and what that means?
See, Annie, I have been through there when success was like there was no light at the end of the tunnel when I first started the journey. When I first came to Australia, I did not know how to turn on a computer. So success was like, oh no, no, no. It's not us who are gonna be success. No, no, no. But I am really lucky that I come from a very supportive family. So I came to Australia with 3 adult-ish children. My husband and my brother was already here. So we all made sure that we set up our goals and we worked towards those goals. So at that time, success was really hard. But I think if you work hard, that's the only strength that I have got. I would work hard. You give me anything and I'll start working hard. You give me that's all I have. Like, I don't have any extra qualities and nothing fancy, nothing extraordinary. But if you give me any task, maybe driving, maybe, learning a course or anything, I would just put my heart and soul in it.
Okay.
So I suppose that, and like, I think hard work is one thing and believing in yourself. We, we have to believe in ourselves. If you can't expect that someone would come and just hold your hand. Doesn't work that. Like, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. So, and as a psychologist today, success to me is when one of my clients are happy if they reach their goals. Success is, even little things. Coming in terms to see a psychologist is also a success for a psychologist. There are many people who don't want to go and see a psychologist because they think, oh, they have got different, they are called different names in slang. I don't know what they are, but people would rather go to a doctor, to a podiatrist, optometrist, beautician, or gynecologist. They would be happy going, but not to a psychologist. But if you have such a personality that people won't mind coming to you, I think that's that's a success.
Oh.
Like, I saw a gentleman yesterday, and when I was given their referral, the referring person told me that, he's very challenging and he never engages with a psychologist and he wants to do a trial. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure if we work that way, but that's okay. I can always go and give him a trial. And 10 minutes into conversation, he goes, oh, are you a psychologist? Can you help me with my depression and anxiety? And I said, yeah, I can try. And he goes, oh, yeah. Can you please come fortnightly? So, see, just giving them that confidence that we all have depression, we all have anxiety. Psychologist is not something out of ordinary. They may present a little bit, done up fancy, but that's not it. They really want to help you. And we are humans. I always say, like, I have experienced depression. I have experienced anxiety. As I mentioned, I have experienced trauma. So that is, and I think the other thing is that any people don't like self-disclosure these days. Everyone is like, oh, no, we have got the ideal life, you have got the best life. But if like I don't um, like really big self-disclosure, but little things like, okay, you've experienced depression. Oh yeah, I know what it's like. I have been through this.
Mm.
Little things like this just make them think, okay, it's normal to be depressed, it's normal to lose your keys. Like how many times we all lose our keys, how many times are we looking for our glasses at night. These things are normal. But if a certain person has got a diagnosis, if they lose their glasses, they think, oh, it's my dementia getting worse. Oh no, that's fine. We all have, like, how many days, like, I would be looking for my car keys everywhere. And where are they? Nobody knows. 10 minutes in, and you think, oh, I can't even remember I left them there. Like we all do such silly things. We all have left like hair straighteners on, and yeah, we all have forgotten to feed our dogs. So I also like normalizing stuff.
Mm. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, absolutely. Because so many of those things that if you're in a mindset of there's a problem with me, right, for whatever reason, then all of those examples that you've just shared, give you a confirmation bias of that negative mindset, right? It's because I'm not good. I'm not good enough because I fail regularly, because someone else, I can't be trusted. Whatever those negative messages are in your mind, then when those day-to-day things happen, it can feel like another confirmation of, whereas
Exactly.
that's exactly it. By normalizing it, like things happen in life, every now and then you might accidentally scrape your car, you'll drop something, you get tired, you get overly stressed, things just happen. An accident could happen. And then when you're of in that shift mindset, or growth positive mindset, you suddenly go, oh, well, my mind is not you know going to fall down because of a variable, just something that's happened. I don't associate that with me personally. It's just something that's happened in life.
And we also need to realize that we all get tired. What we use, like what I used to do. Okay, no, I can't be tired. Like back in the day when I was young, oh, I can't be tired. I can do this nonstop.
Mm.
10 o'clock at night, I would be cleaning, sweeping, or texting someone or emailing someone. But then I realized, no, this is not how we work. We
Mm.
all need to stop at certain point,
And that's
because
not
people
normal.
who are that's it.
That's
That's
what we need to
exactly
actually say.
right.
I've done that in my work and my life. That's right. That all these things, it's like, but it's actually not normal. And if you're saying it's normal, then everybody else then suddenly has that benchmark, which is not sustainable. It shouldn't be
No,
sustainable, because you do need
no,
to take time out. You do need to invest in yourself. You do need to spend
exactly.
time with those other things that you value,
Of course.
like your family,
Oh man,
like your hobbies. When
that's
we're trying to be these super women going crazy, one, it's just not healthy, and two, it's actually sending a message that that is normal, and it's not healthy at
and
all.
the thing is that we are thinking that I'm doing it all for my family, but when end of the day when I'm cranky doing 10 million things, it's the family who suffers. So I would rather do, like, yeah, I would rather do not 10 million, maybe two things, and have peace in the house.
Yes.
Because like nobody cares if your house, like my family wouldn't care if my house is clean or not, if there is dinner or not. What they rather care is me being in a happy mood.
Hmm.
But previously I used to think, no, the house needs to be clean, there needs to be a fresh dinner every day, the bed sheets, towel, everything needs to be immaculate.
Hmm.
But guess what, my kids told me, Mom, we live in a house, not in a hotel, so please calm down. So
It's
then,
true. It's true. And often when we say we're doing it for our kids or someone else, we actually are just doing it for ourselves, right? You're doing
you
it for
don't
yourself.
even know,
You're doing
like,
it for reasons that you've determined are the benchmark. You've determined that
exactly.
I'm a good wife or I'm a good mum if I do X, Y, Z, So if I don't do that, therefore I'm not achieving. But it's yourself that puts those benchmarks on you. If you ask most kids, they'll just go, nah, didn't even notice mum cleaned
So
this.
that's used to happen with me. I cook 3 dishes. Like I have got 4 people to feed, so of course they all have different choices. So I would cook 3 dishes, and they're on the table, and nobody would notice there are 3 dishes, you know. And I am tired, and I'm expecting someone would say a nice compliment or a comment, and then
I
I'm
get it.
thinking, oh, no, 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 no.
Ah,
That's the thing. I think we are the generation that our children are also they are more sensible than us.
mm,
At least like my children are so sensible. They would tell me, Mom, stop. Like
mm,
my daughters would challenge me that we're not going to clean the kitchen tonight and see what happens. So like they challenge me, just go and sit and relax. If you don't clean the kitchen, that's fine. And
yeah.
honestly, nothing happens. Like nothing happens.
Exactly. For those
So far,
listening
nothing
in,
has
next
happened.
time you get that compulsion, just go, don't do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Probably nothing. You'll stare at it for a while and it'll annoy you, but
Yeah.
the world doesn't fall down. And then you actually go, does that annoyance outweigh, something else that I value? And if you start putting that time and energy into something that you actually love and value, then you'll ladies be like me and go, oh, look, I'll just outsource the cleaning because I'd rather go kayaking.
My God, you gave me the example I was about to give. Honestly, an
I have
outsources
no
cleaning.
problem flicking
Oh
it up.
man, I think every woman should outsource cleaning because that takes away all your
Oh
time,
my
energy, and then you
gosh.
are tired, and then you are sweating, you're frustrated, and it's always on your nerves. Bathroom needs doing, kitchen needs cleaning. You
Yeah.
outsource cleaning, and your life is so much better. Like it's at least 10 to 20 times better.
Oh my gosh, it took me years and years, actually decades to actually work that out. And now I'm like, oh, that's the best investment ever. And
Yeah.
also to be able to realize that's right, when you give up some of those things that you don't want because you can focus on the things that you do. A lot of work that I do in my coaching is all about finding your values and what you actually do love and bringing out that, that inner joy. And then it makes the decision very easy. Whereas when you're doing those other tasks and they're zapping you, your time and your energy and making you cranky and so frustrated, then you don't get round to the things you love. And if no one else is valuing them, you've got to, it's crazy. It's a crazy sort of cycle that
Yeah.
we go in, isn't it? I'd love to
Exactly.
draw you back to something you said before about success and celebrating goals. And I love that because and you said something like they don't have to be big. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm into celebrating regularly all the time because like little mini goals, because one, it's just fun. And two, it's so encouraging and motivating. I find that many people find, they've got to have this big goal and then they're successful, whereas there's so many elements. And what you said there of someone even, just going to the psychologist, I'll notice that. Or even, for me, because I do lots of, exercise and trekking, I used to say to the ladies, 80% is just getting there. And it's so true because the big effort was that mental, I don't want to go. What will it be like? Will I be the weakest link? Will I be tired? Will I be capable? And all of that negative self-talk. And so by the time you've done that, got in the car and actually got somewhere, it's kind of like, oh, now you're actually got the last 20%, which is the best,
That's,
but the easiest in a
that's right.
way. You're moving forward. You've made a commit. Yeah.
Yeah, and every tiny steps count, Every, as you gave me the example of exercise, every time you sit in the car and you go for exercise, it's doing a little bit good to you instead of being in your bed and watching on something that you can watch later or do later.
Yeah, exactly. You've got those positive endorphins, but just the achievement. I think it's about because otherwise, every time you say you're going to do something and you don't, it reaffirms that negative belief system.
That's
So if you trim down the goals and make them sort of bite-sized chunks and then celebrate those wins, it is incredibly motivating, I
it is.
find. Yeah.
Of course. And I think it's the baby steps that lead to the big steps. And at times you don't need to have big successes. Like you don't need to win Olympic or some big championship. Little things matter in your daily life. As you and me have decided to outsource this cleaning, how much good is that? See, like honestly, we
Oh,
know the difference. Yeah, and it's these little things, even like making small decisions as going to the therapist, going for exercise, even doing anything that you like. I always say to ladies, do one thing in a day that you that you used to enjoy when you were 16 years old.
Mm.
because that was our real self when we were 16, when we were 20, we didn't have kids, we didn't have work,
Yeah.
we had to study, but that's okay, we can handle that. So I always tell the ladies, like, how they ask, okay, give me one advice. So I always say them, do something that you used to do when you were 16 or 20. We all, maybe it's playing guitar, reading a book, painting, cycling, anything, and see the change in yourself. And it's magical.
Oh, it really is magical. Exactly. Crazy stuff. I've done that even on hikes. Suddenly you just go, let's jump in the puddle, and we'll be laughing ourselves silly. It doesn't matter. It's just funny and silly, or oh, look, we went on a hike in Tasmania, and we all stripped off and went for a little swim. Here's these 50-year-old
Why
ladies.
not?
And we were like, oh, it was so awesome. And we're like, well, we don't care
Exactly.
anyway. We're totally uninhibited. But like just fun things that you go, do
Even
it.
today, when you think about it, see the glow on your face, the energy that you can feel it.
Yeah.
That's success. I think that's all success and achievement. That
Yeah.
you would rather like, yeah. And I think that's what life and celebration is about. So
Mm.
yeah, I firmly believe in um, setting small goals and then celebrating small successes. Like in our house, if there is even if it's tiniest, my smallest thing, I would try to bring flowers or chocolates or cook something nice to make the persons feel special. And my kids say, "Oh, mom, not again. Oh no, same." But I think it's nice. And
Oh,
one more thing,
so nice.
I
So nice.
realized, like, I wasn't like what is like a photo person who takes photographs all the time. But over time, I have realized that when you look back to old photos, they are such a great memory. So
Yes.
now what I have done, that every special occasion, my kids enjoy taking photos of food. I don't do that, but I want like them to have photos of the occasions,
Yeah.
and then I would frame them, and like usually I would frame them in a frame and then have it in a corner. So it's just very, I think it's very energizing. It's very happy.
Oh, so beautiful. And the funny things that we know as mums go, they're probably silly, but I love them, like bringing in the flowers or making something all special. Or even me, I'm always telling all my crazy stories, and my adult children still laugh at me. But then it's really interesting because then suddenly, if I'm away or traveling, they'll go, oh my gosh, mum, you're home. It's been so quiet. And they've missed that. They've missed the things that they bag you out for, because that is you, right? And that's what genuine unconditional love is all about. It's actually saying we love all those goofy, quirky, fun things that make you who you are, even though we pay out on you for doing them. Because then when you're not doing them, then it's sort of like, oh, it's a bit boring, isn't it? It's
And
like,
isn't it funny? You do something for them and they think, oh, how did you know I wanted to eat that? I was just thinking about that food yesterday and you cooked it. So like my life is really like, you can call me crazy, but it evolves a lot around the family. To me, family is a big thing. Yeah.
yeah. And particularly from your cultural background too, that will be even more stronger, is
Yeah.
that right to say? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of food, a lot of socializing, a lot of family
Yeah.
time.
A lot of family time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with this COVID and lockdown, like we missing out on a lot because
Yeah.
families overseas and we are stuck here. But lucky I've got my children, my husband, so it's not too bad.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Well, we won't be stuck here. Just enjoy it. Turn it into a positive. What can you do while you're here?
And that's exactly what we have been doing. Like we have been cooking so much during the lockdown days. We've been baking, cleaning. Like we have cleaned every corner of the house.
Yeah.
It's not immaculate, no, no, no. But we have tried to clean every corner of the house, and we have been like going for long walks, chatting while we are walking. I think that's the most beautiful part of lockdown, honestly,
Yeah.
because we have got like longer summers now. After work we are available, like we are free, and we would go for walks, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. It's
Again, it's making memories.
oh, Those memories are so important, particularly, now I've got adult children, and then, I've got my first granddaughter, who's 3. And so we're watching that cycle of life happening again. And it's so lovely that you look back now on those photos and, I mean, they're in your mind, but you suddenly, see a picture and you see, one of my daughters, I was looking at her baby photo going, oh, so similar to her new little niece's photo at that same sort of age, and seeing those,
Cute.
or they'll go on a holiday, and it's amazing, those family links. One of our sons got engaged at a place that we always went on family holidays to, which is
Wow.
so beautiful. And so it's really interesting as they're growing up in their adult life now to actually be looking back at the photos of when they were just kids there, and we're creating, isn't that wonderful that we created this environment that they loved it so much they wanted to propose to their future wife there.
Oh, nice.
Wow, right? I know. It's just things like that are just beautiful. Or trips. I love not just the remembering, but also the re-celebrating, that if, some things are such a huge achievement. Like when we did, I've done, we did Everest Base Camp, for example, and the high passes. So my husband and I did this 19-day hike. And so we got super fit for it, and we did it. It was such an amazing experience. And then you did it, and like it was life-changing, amazing. But
Wow.
then after that, it's very easy to have a trip and then just go, oh yeah, I've got a few photos. But something like that, to actually make it into a photo book and to reflect it and then have it
Exactly.
as your screensaver. And, now I've got my screensaver on my phone is my granddaughter, like something that just,
Ooh.
yeah, like the value of imagery
Mm.
and being able to re-celebrate. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the photo books, of just putting things, because that's right, you can just pop back into that moment
Exactly.
at any time, by reminiscing and re-celebrating, those occasions, particularly when things are hard, right? When things are challenging, like COVID, or you might be sitting there going, oh, well, I don't get to travel, I don't get to go back. And there can be a lot of longing or wanting or
Yeah.
frustration, and all of those understandable emotions. But you can also then go, okay, well, I'm just going to revisit, I'm going to turn it into just a reminisce about all those great things, and then how am I going to make it even more amazing when I finally get there, and everyone's going to go
Exactly.
nuts.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And talking about like photo books, I use a lot of art and craft in my therapy with
Yeah,
trauma because, as you would know, it's a very like it's a very soft way of dealing with trauma, especially with young children. So I use a lot of that as well, and it's so powerful. One photo can bring up so many things that they never want to disclose, and they would just start talking about it
yeah,
while they're cutting the photo or pasting. Oh, that happened, and then that happened, and you go, oh yeah, tell me more about it, and the story continues.
yeah, yeah, when they're just doing life, just it's not
Exactly.
threatening, it's not intense, it's not an interrogation, it's
No, no, no.
just being,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Oh no, I like I'm not one of like I'm a little bit different in terms of therapy. I will usually take people for walks up in open environment because it's not face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and or like we would go for a coffee or we would do a coloring thing or with children I do a lot of play therapy. We would be playing with sand or play-doh or slime and it's so powerful. You can never imagine a child playing with dolls. What can come out of their mouth? And you think, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And it's non-confronting. It's
Yeah.
really non-confronting. It's non-judgmental. They can't see your face. Their head down. They're doing their stuff. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's even a parenting tip, particularly when you've got boys who, we have the best conversations when you're in the car side by side, because it's not the same. Like my daughters, you go out and we're like leaning in, holding hands, chatting like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
And whereas the boys, it's like, while you're driving, suddenly, oh, chat, 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 chat. And it's just not threatening. And you
It's
end up having great, great conversations, not even looking at each other. It's kind of strange.
that's right.
Not always.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no quick fix with boys. I haven't got that magic yet. I haven't got that magic yet, and I got to admit.
So what is ahead for you? Shagufta, are you going to, how are you going to continue to build your personal growth and your professional growth?
I have got a few things um, in planning. First thing, I want to get more qualification in art therapy, because the more I'm working with trauma, more I'm finding it like, at least for me, conventional talk therapies are mid, like I need something more than that. So I'm thinking of like learning more art and play therapy skills.
Mm,
Yeah, I've like, yeah, that's my sort of upcoming goal.
mm,
So I can integrate it more into my therapy.
yeah.
Yeah, like I know it would be more study, but that's okay. We can handle that.
I am sure you can handle that after all that you have been through, and the challenge of, that's right, immigrating, learning that your language, getting rid of your accent, blending in,
Yeah,
following your dream career, that's right. Just spending your time then growing that, and becoming more specialized in that is actually usually a joy. It's something that
it
is just
is.
that
Yeah,
allows you to be even closer in your niche or your happy place, right? And then that makes you
that's
a better clinician for sure.
exactly. The thing is that um, we have got a very sensitive role. Coming to a therapist, as I said, it's not easy. And when people come and say to you, "Oh, I have been to so many psychologists," and then nothing happens, they do nothing. So you think, "Oh, of course," like, and since I'm new in the profession, I don't want them to have the same impression. I really want them to get some benefit. It's an effort,
Mm,
it's money, it's time, it's energy, and I think above all, it's the person wanting to change for better. They're coming to the professional, they have done their job, but if we can't hold their hand, if we can't give them the service, then what's the point?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, they have done their job. They're sitting in front of me. Okay, I've got these issues. Help me. But if I'm not able to, then they go backwards. It's
Mm,
not one step forward. It's then two steps backwards.
so
So
true.
that's, yeah. It's really, our job is not like, how you go to a hairdresser and they cut your hair wrong, and you think, oh man, what happened to me? Like, why did I even go there? But hair will grow out, but not if you come to a therapist and you don't get what you need. I think
Oh,
damage gets worse.
it sure does. I did that exact same thing. I went to a therapist once when my kids were young, and I went 10 times and it wasn't helpful. And then it took me 20 years to then go back and find another one, and said, yeah, I've still had these problems. Do you think it's me? I didn't like what the previous. So I was that client who went and went, it's probably not going to be helpful. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go to 10 sessions, like, because this is,
Exactly.
so I came on the disbelief side, uh, and
Exactly. But
then
that's
this
very
one was
common in.
fantastic. And it was the best thing ever. I'm like, why did it take me 20 years between appointments? Because of what you've just said. Because it really does not just make you go two steps backwards. It's massive, because you put so much in that decision to go and to release the things that you need to release. And so it's such an honor and a responsibility, and for you to have this role. I think it is. It's a privilege to be able to serve
Yeah.
people in that way.
It's a privilege, and if it comes with a responsibility.
Yeah.
Like times, like we have to have ongoing supervision, so that if there is anyone that you think you are not capable of, then you go to your supervisor and you quickly check with them. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Is it because, as I mentioned, I'm early career, so,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those people. If someone comes to me, they need to get what they're coming for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and at times there are presentations that you think, oh, that's I need to check with someone. And in our profession, supervision is an ongoing thing. We all have supervisors, and I'm very lucky. The place I'm working, I'm really lucky. Like, there is always supervision. There is always senior staff, like really, really senior than me, that can hold my hand, and whatever is the question, they will satisfy my question. So it's a big responsibility, because some people think that, okay, Medicare is paying for it. It's like It's not costing you. But imagine you go for an hour session, so you leave your house in about an hour. Like you have to organize your whole day for that hour.
Mm.
You would either leave work early, or you know how you have to pick up kids. You have got 10 things to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, and you come to the therapy like you have got a babysitter to look after your kids, or your husband is coming home early. Then you go and sit with the therapist, and you think, like, and you can't say anything to the therapist because you think that she is in person in charge. She knows what she's doing. So I feel that responsibility, and yeah, and that's why I'll also do a lot of home visits, Annie, because coming to art therapy is a very like it's a big step. But if someone comes to your house and they say, "Oh yeah, come on, we're going for a walk, we're going for coffee," that is
Safer
very
way.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think, "Oh, okay, I don't like." Oh, you only need an hour then. Someone comes and rings the bell. You put your joggers on. You go. You think, "Oh, I just walked and that's it. I came back."
Mm.
So yeah, I try to like integrate a few different things because I just want to make people feel their worth and make people feel that, all right, like when you come to us, we try our best to give you service.
Mm. So, what's your final piece of advice for someone who's in the journey that you've had? They've come from overseas, they're just settling into their new country now. It might have even been during COVID. What would you advise them to do? What have been your key learnings to ensure that they stay balanced and feel that they can achieve what they need to achieve in life?
I think like we can have an episode on this question because it's too many things. I think first thing is to please work hard. Don't People from overseas come to Australia thinking that everything is easy in Australia. Everyone has a car, everyone has a house, everyone looks pretty, everyone goes to branded places for shopping. That comes later. First step is to build your foundation. You need to work hard,
Mm.
and you need to be really open minded. When you come to Australia, you need to be open minded. You need to ask people questions because my greatest strength is that I'm never shy of asking people. I'm never shy of reaching out because if you have a question, there is an answer. This is my belief. If we have a problem, there is a solution somewhere.
Mm.
It's only us to find a solution. Everything is not in Google, unfortunately. Life would have been easier, but everything can't be in Google. So when you come to a new country, be open-minded. Look for different opportunities. Like I worked so many different jobs when I first started, and I don't want to offend people, but please don't come to Australia thinking that Centrelink or benefits will look after you. That's not the way to go.
Mm.
No, no, please, no. Like I can't emphasize enough that if you're coming to Australia thinking that, okay, you will be on different sort of benefits, please don't come because it is not the way to go.
Mm.
If you do that, then it's not fair with the country, it's not fair with the taxpayers. Come to Australia, come with a goal, come with some planning what you need to do, work hard, ask people around. There is so much Australia is such a fertile country that um, anyone who works hard can flourish here.
Yeah.
They only need to keep their options open. Don't think you come to Australia, this is what I'm not gonna do. Please, like it's not, if you need to do something that you weren't doing in your country, you can do it for a little while, you can do it for a short time, that's okay. Then you make your way up. And even then, like, if you think of Australians, see how hardworking they are. They would always be mowing their own lawn. They would be taking their bins out. They don't have issues with those things,
No.
you know. But when people come from overseas, they think, "Oh my God, who's going to mow this lawn? Come on, it's your lawn, it's your toilet."
Exactly.
things like
We don't
that.
have all the maids. We do our own thing. We do have the luxury to get to a stage in life that we outsource our cleaning
But
and a few
even
other
then,
things, but it's not assumed, and you do what you value, and that's it. Australians generally are very helpful and would be, so those people who are feeling
honestly,
intimidated, or even if you've asked someone before and they haven't helped you, just keep asking, because there's so many
ah,
wonderful
honestly,
people more than happy to help. Yeah.
Australians are so helpful. Like I have always been questioned that, oh, in Australia, did you experience any racism or did you experience anything? And I said, never. Honestly, never. I have been to different workplaces, and I have been doing my thing, whatever I want to do, as long as you adhere to the workplace policies, you
Yeah.
respect their culture, there is never ever a problem. If anything, they would ask you, oh, for example, Ramadan is coming, like, would you need anything? Would you need time off? Or, anything like that. I have never had an issue. I think it's, uh, it's a mutual thing. You come to Australia, you respect their culture,
Yeah.
you learn from them. You don't come with your old habits and you don't change them. That's not it. You need to be flexible. If
Yeah.
you want taking the out, even if you and me, we have outsourced cleaning, but how many times you put the chemical in the toilet bowl and you just brush it quickly? Like, you just do it because you can't be bothered. Okay, she's gonna come 2 days later. I just, how many times you and me just wipe our sinks? Okay, that's it. One done and
Just do
dusted.
it. Just get
And
on
how
with
old are and how old are you and me? Like we are
it.
towards, like we are. Yes. So when students come, yeah, I can give them a lot and lot of advice that they need, and their parents. You know what happens when people come here? They have got families back home. They have different expectations, and I think it's best to show them the right picture. If
Mm.
you are working as like I worked in a kebab shop when I first came. I told my mom and dad straight away, I'm working in a kebab shop, and my dad was proud of me. He
Mm.
said, instead of being on, like, Centrelink was giving
Ah,
us so much money. Oh boy, my kids are citizen. I myself, like, Centrelink was giving us handful of money, but even then I was like, if I can work, because we came near Christmas time, and on Central Coast they needed a assistant in kitchen, and I said, oh yes, please, why not? And I learned a lot of things from that small
yeah,
job.
exactly. Exactly. And when you're doing it, whether even if it is just working at a kebab shop, you're then meeting locals, finding out information, getting yourself more set.
Exactly, that's what
But it's the
happened. That's
doing, it's the
how.
moving, it's the getting out and about that then allows you to
Yeah,
find the next opportunity,
exactly.
you know?
And then you learn a lot about different cultures, like, and I learned a lot from that kebab shop because it was in a shopping center. I would watch people coming. I would think, oh, okay, this happened, because coming from Pakistan to Australia is like a 360 degrees change. Everything was new to us,
Mm.
everything, even accent, everything. But when you see people, oh, okay, you do this way. Even today, like, I never shy of asking people, because there are certain words that I would pronounce differently, or there are, like, what was I asking? Yeah, like, I would never be hesitant asking people questions. At our work, we have got young girls doing their internship, and if I have any questions, I would run to them, because they are young kids. They know technology so much that I have to, like, I'm impressed. So if it's anything technical to do with the laptops, or storage and things like that, I would run to, even with case, like discussing cases, because they are young, they have got recent information. I would never hesitate,
Mm.
and I think we should not. This is the thing, when you come from, especially when people come from a, like, I don't want to offend anyone, but when people come from different cultures, they have got their own values.
Mm.
But Australia it's really a beautiful country, beautiful people. Uh, you can always fly. And there are so many ways of doing things. You can study, you can work, you can go to TAFE, you can do so many courses, like, and yeah, I can talk about this nonstop. Annie, let me know.
Well, we've been chatting away for an hour, so we better finish up. But I am so delighted to have had this chat with you today. It's been really great to hear your story and to celebrate, that at this stage of your life you can say, yeah, I always knew. That's it. When we reflect back on our lives and we go, what did we love doing when we were a kid? Most of the time that's what we really have inside of us, right? And it might have a different format. You weren't a psychologist, you just liked helping people. You liked talking, and then you realize that you actually like listening as well, and you knew you were more academic, and you knew you wanted some more infrastructure, some theoretic knowledge to be able to have that credibility, to be able to help them
Yes,
well, and to, as you started this conversation, to truly empower them for a sustainable future of happiness, of joy, of success, of celebrating who they are and their achievements. And I think that congratulations to you for coming and going through that whole journey, and then putting yourself
thanks.
through your qualifications, and now being at a stage you go, yep, I'm registered, I'm a psychologist, and now you can go more niche. Now you can keep doing those qualifications and things that interest you, like the art classes and
Thank you, Annie.
like that. I think that is so wonderful, and those who receive your care and your services will be truly blessed because of that.
Thanks, Annie. Thank you.
Well done, you. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes, and of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.